Niacin's contribution to hormone production is a foundational yet frequently neglected part of its physiological role. While discussions around hormonal health tend to focus on endocrine glands, receptor sensitivity, and targeted therapies like hormone replacement, they often leave out the metabolic precursors and cofactors that make hormone biosynthesis possible in the first place. Among these, NAD+, derived directly from vitamin B3, is indispensable. Steroid hormones, including cortisol, aldosterone, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, are all synthesized from cholesterol in a multi-step enzymatic process. These steps occur primarily in the adrenal glands and gonads and require the activity of several cytochrome P450 enzymes. These enzymes, such as CYP11A1 and CYP17A1, depend on NADPH, a phosphorylated form of NAD+, to function. NADPH donates the reducing power needed for the hydroxylation and cleavage reactions that transform cholesterol into pregnenolone and, from there, into various steroid hormones. Without sufficient NAD+/NADPH pools, this biosynthetic pathway becomes sluggish, potentially compromising hormonal output. This becomes particularly relevant under conditions of stress, aging, or chronic illness, scenarios in which both NAD+ levels and hormone levels naturally decline. For instance, adrenal fatigue, though not formally recognized in conventional medicine, is a commonly discussed concept in functional and integrative circles, where low cortisol output is associated with burnout, low energy, and poor stress resilience. However, few protocols aimed at restoring adrenal function include niacin, or even consider NAD+ replenishment as part of the picture. Instead, they often turn to adaptogenic herbs, glandular extracts, or direct hormone replacement, interventions that may help symptoms but don't necessarily restore the underlying enzymatic capacity for endogenous hormone production. The situation is similar in the realm of sex hormones. Testosterone and estrogen levels drop with age in men and women respectively, a process known as andropause or menopause. While HRT, hormone replacement therapy, is a common treatment path, there's little mainstream discussion about the mitochondrial and cofactor support needed for healthy hormone synthesis. Given that NAD+ is also essential for mitochondrial ADP production, required for cholesterol transport and enzymatic activation, low niacin levels may indirectly impair hormone biosynthesis at multiple steps. There's also an interesting feedback loop. Hormonal imbalances, particularly involving cortisol, can accelerate NAD+ depletion. Chronic stress increases the activity of NAD-consuming enzymes like PRP and CD38 due to DNA damage and inflammation. In other words, not only is NAD+ needed to produce cortisol, but excess cortisol and the stress that triggers it can further erode NAD+ reserves. This creates a vicious metabolic loop where both stress response and hormone production degrade over time. Niacin's potential to break this cycle is profound, yet it's rarely included in hormone optimization protocols, which tend to favor either direct hormonal manipulation or high-level endocrine assessments. The reason for this omission may partly be due to niacin's unglamorous status in the supplement world. It's inexpensive, unpatentable, and lacks the marketing push of newer nutraceuticals or bioidentical hormone therapies. Additionally, the flushing side effect of nicotinic acid has historically discouraged higher dosing, despite niacinamide offering a non-flushing alternative that is equally effective for NAD+ support in this context. Moreover, most lab panels for hormonal health don't include functional nutrient assessments. Blood niacin levels or NAD+ status are not routinely tested, and their deficiency is rarely suspected unless there are signs of pellagra. Yet, subclinical deficiencies, where levels are marginally low but not overtly deficient, may be enough to impair optimal hormone synthesis. This is particularly true in older adults, those under chronic stress, or individuals with high metabolic demands, where niacin needs are elevated but intake remains static or even declines due to dietary choices. In practical terms, supporting hormonal health holistically should include a deeper look at cellular energy metabolism and nutrient availability. Ensuring adequate intake of vitamin B3, either through diet or supplementation, is a simple but powerful way to support the body's own hormone-producing machinery. Foods like tuna, turkey, beef liver, peanuts, and whole grains are excellent sources of niacin, but in states of high demand, supplemental niacinamide may be warranted to maintain sufficient NAD+ for optimal enzyme activity. In conclusion, The synthesis of sex and adrenal hormones is an energy-intensive, cofactor-dependent process that requires more than just raw cholesterol or endocrine signaling. It requires the silent, enabling presence of NAD+, and by extension, niacin. This makes vitamin B3 not only relevant, but vital to any serious discussion of hormonal balance and optimization. As the fields of integrative and metabolic medicine evolve, niacin deserves a place not just as a general health supplement, but as a foundational nutrient in the endocrine toolbox.